Black Power. A lot has happened since last week. First, with the issue of the genocide by cop, 20 more people have been killed over this past week. We're still getting information about one brother who was killed at the Wardlow train station. That was confirmed by another train operator who said she actually spoke to the person who was driving the train that killed that brother. So he was hit and killed by a train. And the report the Los Angeles Times put out last week was that he was being pursued or he was in an altercation with the sheriff for fare evasion. So again, this is part of the craziness in which they'll take a life. You know, if it's regular people, they'll tell you straight out that's some crazy and that's some bullshit to kill someone over. But yet when people who they commission to be killers do it, you know, they try to dance around it. So again, that's why we take the position we're taking, because no one else is even showing interest of stopping this madness. The most they've been saying from Obama on down is doing things to regain your trust and support. But we're asking y'all to come forward and help us bring an end to this madness. As far as the meeting we were at last week with the group called Fighting for the Soul of the Cities, one of our comrades was reached out by a member of their organization. We were invited to go to a meeting. Initially, we thought it was going to be an actual action on behalf of the brother who was killed at the train station, but the meeting was a night before the action they had, which was they were looking at taking the group to the MTA headquarters downtown and speaking out. But in the meeting that night, they asked us to go out to the Four Corners on King and Crenshaw. You know, their building was located right there on that first block, just east of Crenshaw. So we walked out to the corners, and as soon as we got out there were two youngsters getting into it with an elder. It was a larger youngster and then a shorter youngster. The larger one was saying the elder, who was also about as big as the other big youngster, but they were saying the elder, when he was getting off the bus, grabbed the younger brother and threw him out the way. So when they got off the bus, that's about what we called them. And we were able to successfully break up the fight. But as we were doing it, one member of the LAPD pulled up and he hit his panic button, pulled out his taser, and before you knew it, we had about 30 pigs there surrounding us. But you know, fortunately, everybody went home and made it safe. We did notice while that was happening, the group Fighting for the Soul of the Cities had completely abandoned us. They did not even tell us they were leaving. So we went back to their meeting, confronted them about it. The head of their organization tried to make excuses, talking about, you know, they had minors, which were mostly teenagers, who they had to be concerned about, and that was not the issue. You know, they had a few adults who, one, could have communicated to us that's what they were doing, but two, they could have come back after they had their youth in the facility and at least, you know, recorded, stood witness to whatever was or was not happening. Because on one end, they're talking about rallying for somebody who was a victim of police terrorism, but yet while it was actually happening, you know, they bounced. So that's what that was about. And we found they were tied to the other groups I shared in that post. So we'll most definitely be monitoring them, because again, a lot of these nonprofits are set up. A lot of individuals get out here to basically make a dollar off our struggles, and that is something that's been going on for too long and been misdirecting and misleading our people. So we most definitely believe in exposing them, and the best we can shutting them down also. As far as this situation with Liquorland, today is the 21st day of the boycott. Last week, we finally had a meeting with Mr. Lee, whose real name is Andy Cho. His son, Kevin Cho, is the one whose name is over the Imperial Liquorland. We found that they own at least 3 different liquor stores: the Imperial Liquorland, the Nelson's Liquorland, and I believe JS Liquor on Vermont and Century. So our first demand is that the Imperial Liquor Land shuts down, and out of their remaining 2 stores, they begin to reinvest in, restoring, repairing some of the damage they've done. In some cases, there is no repairing it because lives have been lost. People have been driven away. People at the point to where they possibly might not be able to return from how mentally and otherwise internally they have been destroyed. But that's why we're pressing that the Imperial Liquor Land has to be shut down. But for the remaining stores, and pretty much for many of these stores, they're going to have to start committing some of that fortune back in to repairing our people. So to this point, the Cho family has been following through with a lot of their, not a lot, but they have been following through with some of their minor commitments. The day of the meeting, they had actually went over to Jesse Owens Park and made a contribution to some of the programs there. They have connected with some people over at Southwest, so very likely they'll be supporting some of the organizations, sports teams over there. They have made some minor rearrangements inside the store, separating products that the minors will be purchasing from the other alcoholic and tobacco products. They came out to our Break Bread food program in Kamathi Park yesterday, brought a lot of drinks, fruits, and chips. But again, we're not in this for handouts. We're not even in this to get our own pockets laced. This again is about the overall destruction of our communities. So where in the past, like after 92, after like 200 and some of those type operations got shut down, burnt down, there were a lot of meetings and discussions about building the relationships. And for a few months, I don't even think it went on for a year, there were misleaders in the black community who made money off of that. But for the most part, it really didn't do nothing for us but bring back more liquor stores, more outside people owning and operating the businesses in our community. So this time around, we want to make sure we don't repeat those mistakes. And again, we're not looking for handouts. We are looking to identify as many of these shady businesses as possible and evicting them, and potentially get more of our people who are in position to be investors to step up. A lot of y'all are making suggestions and comments that we do things that we are working on, but again, we don't get paid to do what we're doing, and most of us do this full time. People question as far as the donation thing on our website. We put it up towards the end of last year, 2016. At the end of the year, I think we made about $20 last year, and so far this year, we've only made $60. While we're out on the streets, vending with our documentaries, flags, or whatever, we usually make enough to get some snacks to eat and for gas for bus fare. So again, this isn't a profitable thing that we do, but we know first and foremost our existence as a people is necessary because nothing else matters. You can't talk to the families of Ezell Ford, Keith Bursey, Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, any of these lives that are lost, and talk about their futures because they're gone. So if we don't get our existence protected first and foremost, nothing else matters. And that's why we are fully committed to this, because as y'all see, even though some of you are online conscious and suggest what and what not to do, you see as many more of our folks out here who still do it. That's why I've been saying for years, when we say we're going to boycott something, it's not enough for us to just say we're going to keep our personal dollars out of there, because as you see, it's a lot of other black dollars that go up in there. But once you get out here and you communicate in the situation in Liquorland off the bat, probably more than half the community was with it because they already had similar experiences, and all they needed was people to get out there and take the lead on that. So that's why we encourage many more of you to have these conversations with your families, co-workers, friends, whatever, And whenever possible, get out here with us. Come and stop that one person. Come and put in that 1 hour with us. But again, we do appreciate all you have been doing. Those of you who have been sharing the videos, those of you who have been battling in the comment sections with all this foolishness. And again, a lot of those are paid trolls, whether they work for Facebook, whether they work for the target businesses we are dealing with, or whether they are just on there in general to distract and throw off the focus of whatever the post is about. And some of them possibly just, psychologically off. But yeah, staying focused is what we have to do. But as far as Liquorland, we will be out there later today, day 21, and we're going to need more support on that still in order to shut it down, because at this point it doesn't look like that's what the Cho family has in mind. Some of the locals over there saying they believe dude's going to shut it down based off their conversations with him. But again, we can't ease up and let our future depend on what another person feels or doesn't feel like doing. So we are committed to making that happen. Just lastly, as far as with the Liquorland, the repression has stepped up. Again, as we've been sharing a lot of our videos, whether the audio hasn't been uploading as we upload these videos, whether it's been other problems when we go live, but we are working on building and launching our own platform real soon. I mean, real soon, to provide more accurately the information that we need to provide. But also, the sheriffs have been trying to intimidate the brothers over there, trying to get them to turn against us. So we're asking for y'all support to help protect those brothers, especially the hours when we're not over there, because basically they want them to run us off because they're not within any legal means to do it themselves. They are trying to plot on us in other ways, but probably plotting on us in ways beyond just that. Because again, Liquorland and a lot of businesses over there are being extorted by the sheriffs. So they're trying to put pressure on that. And some of y'all saw yesterday, we did begin a second boycott over at Hubert's liquor store, another situation that needs to go. I'm very familiar with it as I have lived over there much of my life. But again, the community instantly knew that it was time. The security who was swinging the stick on the brother yesterday has riled up against several other people. I've had to put his ass in check several times. We've had to do our own spontaneous shutdown several times in that store. For about 2 or 3 years, I refused to go to that store. But it's now time to permanently shut it down and replace it with something that is black owned and operated. So again, those you cats who want to go back and forth with us about what we need to do, if you're in that position to do it, then it's time for you to shut the fuck up and step up, period. All right? I mean, that's just the obvious shit. Again, all these great ideas don't mean nothing if you're not going to put in the work to follow through and make it happen. For us, you cats putting out videos, same thing. Instead of wasting your time putting out a video criticizing what we are or not doing, you would be more effective putting that time into making what you're doing manifest or more effective. If y'all concerned about us taking y'all women, women aren't objects in the first place to be taken. But, if you thinking cats trying to get up in your yoni, that's not the case. I personally am satisfied with my wife and have no ideas of, being foul with our relationship. So I'm not tripping on, women you dealing with. Maybe if you stop treating them like side chicks and everything else, you wouldn't have them concerns. But, yeah, your opinions is not about to change nothing. Again, this is something that we was assigned to do. We pulled up on the situation in Liquorland, witnessed it for ourselves, and then the situation at Hubert's yesterday, 2 of our comrade sisters. Our sister Osana, y'all been seeing her for several months now be the main person cooking and providing the food at our Break Bread program, and she and her sister Tierra were on their way to the store to actually buy some bread for the program when they witnessed what happened happened. So again, it's not we're going around looking for stores to deal with, but it's being exposed and we're doing what we're supposed to do. Not just saying, because basically that kind of seems like what y'all saying, like we should just be oh well and forget it happened. Trying to justify your lack of involvement. But that's what we do, and again, small progress is being made. As far as the situation with USC, we went to game one. It was only a handful of us. Turns out, some comrades got a relative who's on the team, and just so happened, somebody gave me 2 tickets, so we went up inside. But that's not the purpose of that mission either. It's to confront and put pressure on one of the main forces behind the gentrification in our area, and to figure out in that situation what all we can do to stop it. Again, some folks are throwing in the towel, suggesting that there's nothing we can do, but we can do something, y'all. We can do things way more radical than we're doing now, or if we get more numbers and support doing the things we're doing now, these things will also work. But best believe in the meantime, between time, whether it's COINTELPRO, Homeland Security, Mark Ridley Thomas, Mayor Garcetti, the LAPD, the LA County Sheriffs, they're all trying to figure out the best way to stop us right now. Because again, they know what we're doing is very effective. And if it spreads, if this black plague spreads, it's going to make some major changes across this country. So we need y'all support more so than your criticisms. We need y'all involvement more so than your haterisms. So again, much appreciation to everyone who has been supporting. We will be out there at Hubert's in a few hours. Maybe by the time this gets up, we'll be there. Probably between 2:30 3 o'clock. And then later on today, we'll be back at Liquorland for day 21. And then this coming Saturday, we'll be back over at USC for game 2. But nightly, we are out here counter patrolling these psychopathic pigs. They have commissioned to terrorize and murder us. And we will continue the food program. But all of these efforts need your support. Black power.